to cope with broken hearts. So what kind of relationship problems do people now face? I mean, especially with the increasingly urbanized and global society, I think relationships are quite different even from 5-10 years ago. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, I've noticed that there's a lot more online interaction.
Yeah.
Like, people are using the Match.com or other online dating services, and mainly because they're so busy with their lives, and they're also using other social networking sites like Facebook or MySpace. I use those to keep in touch with people, but I know some people who actually use those to cold turkey meet people and go on dates. So it's definitely changed. I remember the days when people talked about having newspaper ads, personal ads in newspapers, right, and how to do that properly. And now nobody's even thinking about that anymore. It's all online. It's a totally different interface.
Yeah, and there was a recent case about Second Life where the couple met on Second Life and they got married offline. There was
it was like this virtual reality game. And
Second
then they
Life.
create virtual characters of themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they met and they love each other.
Dated in the virtual world for 4 years. And then they got married in real life. So now I think it's getting more common, a cyber relationship. It's hard to draw the line.
Yeah, people are more accepting maybe of this using the technology communication to do this, to have a human connection. Yeah. So maybe we can talk a little bit about this other long distance relationship where communication technology actually helps the partners who are apart to actually have some connection. We'll take a look. You know what I mean. Yeah. With globalization, long-distance relationship is getting more and more common. And for those in such relationships, physical proximity is a luxury. And this installation here called Mutsugoto or Pillow Talk gives you that connection to the use of digital media and communication technologies. Inspired by long-distance relationship, this interactive art installation invites couples to experience an intimate non-verbal communication over distance.
It's okay. Well, these little bubbles of red are actually it's actually Elsie drawing. But when I draw it, there's going to be one, block of red.
This is made possible by computer technology.
When both of our lines touch, it turns red. There you go, like so.
Zahir, can you explain to us how does this work?
Okay, well, it first starts off with the ring. So this metal part of the ring is actually sensitive to your body heat. That's why it releases the red light when you touch it. Mm-hmm. So this red light will actually get picked up by the camera with the infrared lens, and it will send that data down to the computer that's under the bed. So it will send that data back up to the projector, and that's how the white lines are formed.
So do you really think that this will improve physical connection and physical intimacy in a long-distance relationship?
It will help somehow. I think it's one way of communicating. It may not be the best, but I'm sure it'll help some people. Because a lot of people have asked the artists if they can actually buy this thing. So yeah, they will be thinking about marketing this in the future, maybe.
But technology has its limitations. Maybe in the future, it will be able to incorporate the sense of touch, warmth, and all those dimensions that helps to sustain a relationship.
Last, have you been in a long-distance relationship before?
No, I haven't.
Would you consider being in one?
Not really.
Why not?
It's complicated.
Why is it complicated?
Because she's overseas and you're in Singapore, and it just makes it hard to reach out to each other. And the emotional connection, I mean, when you're busy, she's okay. And then when she's busy, you're free. So it's hard to find the time.
Have you been in a long-distance relationship before?
No.
No. Would you consider being in one?
No.
No. Why not?
Long distance is not secure.
Consider being in one?
Well, I'm not sure.
Why? Why and why not?
I think it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, how is it like someone living in a different country?
Yes, actually, my wife is Vietnamese.
Okay.
So not really a long time, just couple of months.
Okay, but how is the experience like? I mean, how do you maintain the relationship, like two people living in different countries?
I think we have a common understanding, so we just keep in touch, that's all.
I mean, what are some of the ways that you used to keep in touch?
I think by phone call. That was more than 10 years ago.
I see.
So
Alright.
that time we don't have Yahoo Messenger.
Have you been in a long distance relationship? Yeah, before.
Yeah, for a short while, yeah.
How was the experience like? Was it difficult to maintain?
Actually not. I mean, based on technology, we can have webcams and long distance call. And mine wasn't that long. It was only 6 months. So it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it wasn't a challenge. You found it okay, lah.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, if you... it depends on how strong you have the relationship with one another. Yeah, so it's about, end of the day, about 2%. It's not just the distance.
So after having that experience, would you perhaps consider in future maybe another long distance relationship?
I won't totally deny it. I mean, just weigh it up. It's all depending who you're with and the circumstances. Like you no choice that you got to work overseas, you got to study overseas. Just have to take it.
Yeah. So for long distance relationships, so Amanda, would you go for one?
I am in one.
Oh, you are in one now. Oh, see, I don't know much of my colleague. Okay, so tell us.
Oh, right.
Awkward pause there.
We want to know.
Yeah, but I guess even with like technology nowadays, I still prefer like phone calls and things like that because you can actually hear the other person, the voice, the emotions. I mean, sure, you can go on Messenger, emails and stuff, but it's like text. It's not real to me.
So you chalk up a lot of long distance calls then?
I know, my phone bill is like really high.
Have you tried Skype?
Not really. I'm not really technologically savvy. But I'm not sure like the video we just saw, that installation thing, I'm not sure how it actually helps enhance long distance relationships.
Yeah, I was a little bit skeptical actually, but I think it's because this is in the initial stage of a prototype where you could just draw something and it would appear on the body of the person like over a distance. But as they're going, developing it, they say you could actually do your silhouette, and who knows, maybe in the future there could be a touch, there could be the virtual warmth or scent even that it crosses the distance. So it's just a prototype. It's not one of the best way, definitely. I think webcam and phone calls, the old technology are still better, and of course face-to-face. But I was thinking maybe for guys it would be harder to have a long-distance relationship.
Because you're saying it, guys are visual.
Yeah, more visual, they need a more physical
touch. That's why
touch.
Skype is so important. No, really, with the webcams, it helps to be able to see the person and hear. And there are lots of actually applications where you can do free, with MSN or whatever. It's actually free to talk to somebody on the other side of the world and see them and hear them at the same time. So those are. I remember back in the day when we were writing letters and had to wait a week for them or longer for them to arrive. But now with all the technology, it's a lot easier.
Yep, and you can send photos and everything.
Yeah.
Right. But do you think that this has changed relationship because of new technology now, cyber love and all that? So do you face any case studies related to this kind of thing?
Actually, personally, I do have a few friends who had long distance relationship, and it has been very challenging. So far, I've only heard of one that is successful. Because I think for this kind of new technologies that is taking place in the recent years, to a certain extent, it's for the good or the bad. I mean, the good would be the different varieties you get to communicate with the other person who is so far away. But the bad would be you still cannot get a sense of what the person is doing actually. And therefore, these communication methods that is really just on the front could become like a facade the person puts up. And that is actually what happens to a few of my friends. Yeah. At the end of the day, they come back and say, let's break up. And they get a shock because I thought we were communicating well over at MSN, So it's really that lack of ability to really know what is happening to the other partner's life. And once again, I think the core issue really is transparency between two couples that they can't run away with.
Yeah, and then the person could deceive you, right? By acting and behaving like somebody else that they're not.
Yeah, easily compared to the past where you don't have this sort of platforms. So there is still the danger factor.
Yeah, there's a lot more trust involved, like a lot more. Because if you're, unless you're on Skype all day at work or something or whatever, you're not going to be able to, you really have to trust the other person. And one of the ways that you can, there are different ways that you can force the partner to be loyal, but in the end of the day, it's really about giving them freedom and autonomy, and just hoping that that you've given them enough that they won't want to risk it.
Yeah. Well, but as one of the Vox Pops, the last guy, he was saying that, but sometimes you have no choice. Because you're studying overseas, you met somebody, you are posted 2 years overseas, and you met somebody, and then you need to leave. You need to move back to your home country, and then it has to. You want to continue with it. Then that becomes not really like you don't know this person, but you have. But now you're separated because of this movement. So what can people do then to sustain this kind of long distance relationships?
For some of my friends who actually get themselves into this sort of situation, some of them who actually chooses to handle it by not starting that committed relationship while they have to leave, and then when they come back, then to explore this again, because when the other person is overseas for so many years, many things could change, you see, and if they really love each other, they would want the other person's space to also explore and to grow in their life. And 3-4 years later, when they come back, if our life direction is still the same.
That's long.
Wow.
Get together.
Wow.
But, and there are people who actually do that, and as friends, you really celebrate that joyous occasion.
I do know of a couple that got married just a couple of years ago that had long distance for 4 years in California and in Toronto, Canada. And they kept that up with frequent visits every 2 months for a week or so.
Wow.
And then, of course, over different kinds of technology, Skype or MSN or something. So it's possible. But I would always recommend, if it's going to be longer than a few months, that it's actually best to take a break, because the worst thing is to be in the process of falling out of love. Because what's going to happen is you can't maintain that intensity, the face-to-face intensity, and then it's just going to start to die. And then when you meet each other, it's going to be like, wow, what a difference from when we first saw each other. So it's better to stop it and keep all those memories intact, keep all those good feelings, and then when you meet each other again, it's going to be like, wow, like we never left.
Yeah. It sure takes a lot of maturity, though, emotional maturity, to say, I'm not going to start a relationship even though how attracted I am to the person. Right? It's really not easy. I mean, personally, I feel that it's not easy, especially with the issues that surrounds a relationship. And for tonight, I think it's we've explored some of these issues, and I think it's natural to feel a sense of loss and grief when a relationship has died, But we also learned that you need to deal with it, and having this pain could be a good sign, right, to feel those intense relationships. So we hope that tonight's program has been very helpful, especially for some of you out there who may be feeling the pain, and that it will help you to sleep better tonight. Okay, so that's good night from all of us here.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.